I had reached a point where I was, just getting home from work, and a lot, 2 or 3 days out of the week, I'd have a headache, and it would kind of ruin evening plans and weekend plans. And I was just, miserable. And I happened to go for a checkup with my doctor, and I had been taking Imitrex for migraines for probably 20 years, since I was in college. And all of a sudden he, was like, you can't continue taking this. It's not good for your blood pressure, especially as you age. Your body's not going to bounce back. It's not sustainable to just rely on taking an Imitrex every time you have a migraine, because I was starting to take a lot of them. And insurance limits how many you can take or how many you can buy every month. So it was, that was causing a stress, because I was about to reach my limit for the month. And so, was looking at a week or two of, having to suffer through migraines with no medication. So it's all kind of came to a head last summer. And then I got this email from PCOS Diva. And so I was like, oh, I'll give this a try. So I went ahead and purchased the Migraine Symposium. Working with somebody online, like, were we going to click? And if we couldn't see each other all the time, or I couldn't see her in person or whatever, I just wasn't sure, like, how that would flow. And then, with a 6-month coaching, I've been to a nutritionist before. I've used 2 different ones. One was, almost like a counselor. And then one was just very not, our personalities didn't mesh. And I didn't know what I could expect to get out of it. And I didn't really get, my money's worth out of it. So kind of based on that past experience, I wasn't sure, like, where in the spectrum we would fall. So I think that was, and it's, I think we rely really heavily on trying to do things that insurance pays for and not have to pay for things out of pocket. And I just, it was just a life decision for me to invest. It was basically an investment in myself and my health, and, making my life better, to go and do the coaching and do all the testing and, supplements and all of that. So it was worth every penny. So I'm glad that I, looked past all that and went for it, because I really got a lot out of it. We started simple, and, so she's helped me kind of build up some really good habits. So, like, drinking lots of water. I get from like 8 to 12 glasses a day. That was literally, I think, the first thing. She was like, I want you to keep, a picture on your desk or put a timer on your phone, whatever it is that will work for you. And you really need to be drinking more water. That was kind of my first, like, quick win. Because I immediately, within a day or two, started, feeling better and feeling the benefits of that. So things like that, and, tracking food. At the very beginning, we were looking at what was I eating, when was I eating it, how did I feel when I was eating it. Like I mentioned earlier, with my sweet tooth and stress eating and things like that. So she kind of helped me work through that and really think about what I was eating and why I was eating it. And we did some gut testing and determined that I'm highly sensitive to gluten. And so she recommended, I think the easiest or the most friendly way to cut out gluten and sugar is to do a Whole30. So she really encouraged me to do a Whole30. That it's very well supported, huge community, so much easier to find compliant products and things like that now. So that was kind of I guess, scary thing because it seems like there's a lot of rules, but it turned out to be really, really easy. And both my husband and I saw huge benefits from that. I lost 10 pounds. He lost 20.
Wow,
The headache
congratulations. Mm-hmm.
dramatically decreased. And if I did get one, another thing that Erin's worked really hard with me on is sort of putting together, like, I think she calls it a toolbox or a toolkit of different things that you can do to prevent, but also what do I do when I actually, have a headache? Different essential oils and, increasing water, increasing certain supplements, breathing exercises, things like that. So that's been another sort of habit forming thing that she's worked with me really hard on is putting together that toolkit of what do I do when I what are the 5 or 10 things that I try. The first thing that I had to get him on board with was um, he really loves Italian food. He's an amazing cook. We love,
Mm-hmm.
pizza night, and he makes his own pasta. And so that was like really tough when we got my results back and
Uh-huh.
figured out that I was highly reactive to gluten. And I think some of the things, that I've noticed about my body or my weight or bloating or whatever, he has noticed the same things about himself. And so I was like, you know, if I'm having this problem, you might be having it too. So maybe, he got really interested once we got the test results back from my gut testing and my hormone testing. And he started, I got these quick wins of almost immediately the number of migraines, was dropping. And so he was seeing really positive changes in me. And so he, got pretty excited about, well, I want to see what my results might be, because maybe there's some things I can tweak.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a conversation with ERIN about it. He's not a migraine sufferer, but he would like to investigate the gut testing, and we did a Dutch test on him as well, kind of hormone and cortisol
Mm-hmm.
testing. So her team is able to kind of do not migraine specific plans and looking at testing, for spouses or friends or whatever. So it's been a positive. They actually found something on his that, gave us some concern, and she helped me find a functional doctor that both me and my husband are going to now, and we're, really going deep with cleaning some things up and addressing some issues that have come up on the testing that she did for us. It's hard to go through this stuff on your own, um and it would be really hard if he wasn't supportive, because when you're told you should probably cut gluten out, that's a pretty big deal to impact your diet when you have someone else in the household.
Mm-hmm.
So it made me really happy that I was able to get him on board and he was able to see some health benefits. I've been having the migraine so long that I just sort of accepted that that I was never going to get rid of the migraines and I was always going to have to struggle with them. Before I started with ERIN, I was having probably 10 to 12 migraines, like enough to where I didn't want to, go out to dinner or whatever. I didn't feel good, so I wanted to lay down rather than do a social activity or, watch a movie with my husband or whatever, go for a walk or things like that. So I think I was around like 10 to 12. And I mean, I really only have maybe 1 to 3 a month now. A lot of the headaches I have now are more like weather related with maybe barometric pressure. We live in Houston, so like if all of a sudden it's really, really hot one day and then we get a cold front and it drops 20, 30 degrees, those are the times that I kind of notice and expect to get a headache. So what little I'm experiencing now is a lot more predictable, kind of based on, all the talks that I've had with ERIN and all the logging of food and, logging of circumstances around when I might have gotten a headache. They're a lot more predictable. And then, I get that tool chest out and I'm like, okay, increase magnesium, try ginger capsules, essential oils. Like there's all kinds of things that I try now. ERIN's been an amazing, amazing resource. Like I said, I'm kind of a nerd and reading a lot of blogs and things, and she's always been available. If I see some kooky, weird little migraine thing, I'll write her a note. Do you know anything about this? Should I try this? Like, what's the science behind this? Things like that. She's always been very responsive with all my little one-off questions. But she's been super helpful with sort of, the mini package that we did where we tested my husband and they made some suggestions her team did for him. So she's been, super helpful and responsive with that. She's got a great blog. Constantly is on other people's blogs. She has great guests that she talks to. She's got a lot of great ideas. She's a very sort of naturally curious person like I am. So I really appreciate all the information that she puts out there, all the ideas. She really does not give up. Like when you're coaching, just always trying to, help me pick up a new habit, encouraging me, giving me ideas on how to keep my health a priority.